let me show you a little bit of my notes, and then I'll show you some really interesting performances of To His Core Mysteries. Basically, one thing you need to find out and understand is the main argument, how the main argument is developed, and then what conceits are used, like the marble vault, or amorous birds of prey, okay, or time being winged chariot, and then an animal with slow chapping power, okay, and then also To His Core Mysteries. An interesting question we can ask here is why To His Core Mysteries, but not to my core mysteries? Okay, and then this is a question that I think we as contemporary readers will ask, but not the readers of their time, the readers in the 17th century. Because I think the convention has it that they talk about like To His mysteries, to his lady, to his, but not to my lady, to my my mystery. So that's a convention, seeming to suggest that you don't speak to the lady directly. It is his lady. But then it's also a witty turn of the phrase, because the lady is still the speaker's lady. It's actually my lady, but not his lady. Like when you talk to the king or to the queen, you say His Majesty. And sometimes when you say His Majesty, you want to place a longer distance, a larger distance between you and the king and the queen. So that's the implication of the distance here. Okay, and I think to look at it today, we can say that, distancing the lady this way, to say that it is his core mysteries, but not my core mysteries. I think adds the implications of the coreness, that this core mystery is even farther away from the speaker. Okay, it's a little bit different from the flea, because the flea, there are imperative sentences, direct address, so we feel that the lady is just right in front of him, the speaker. But here, with the use of the word his, there is another implication of the distance between the speaker and the lady. Okay, and the carpe diem tradition is something you need to be aware of. Okay, a typical poem like "Gather ye rosebud what you may" expresses the idea of carpe diem. Usually, this idea, seize the day, is used in the courting poems to let the ladies know that they don't have that much time, so he shouldn't be coy. She should just accept the love. Okay. Exaggeration in poetic jargon means hyperbole. There are a lot of hyperbolic expressions, 夸大的讲法。好，for instance, to say that he wants to praise the lady forever, 2,000 years, 30,000 years, etc. And there are also images of mortality, like the marble vault, suggesting both death and sterility. 就是 marble vault 就像是那个使女一样，就是 the vagina is no longer fertile. It's no longer possible to produce babies. It's dead already. Okay. The final actions is the most striking part of the poem. The idea that pleasure and pain comes together. The idea that when we make the full use of our time with the awareness of mortality, then sometimes there is this keen awareness of the shortness of our pleasure. And then usually there's the combination of pain and pleasure in the pleasure we have. If you feel that, 其实我不知道你们会不会有这种感觉哈，我从年轻开始就常会觉得那个乐极生悲，就是我从年轻开始就常觉得说，我如果有个 moment 很快乐的话，那后面 there must be something wrong. either I wasn't careful about something and then something was wrong, or something came around to make me feel sad, etc. Okay, so I don't know whether I had a sense of mortality, maybe not then when I was young, but I always believed that 乐极生悲. Okay, but here I think that it's still the idea of 悲喜并至, you know, the sense of pain and pleasure coming at the same time, you know, because after all, life is short. And that's why the images used are all images of action, but violent action, like devouring birds of prey, you know, rolling the two bodies into one ball, okay? And also pleasure that involves pain, like tearing the pleasure, okay? Pleasure involving pain, or being sent towards death, being sent toward the limits of our life. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this again is to remind you how this poem has a lot of metaphysical conceit, and how it uses metaphysical conceit to set a contrast between the strength of the passion and its shortness. You know, that passion or pleasure can be strong, but then they also have to be short. They have to be limited. And that's why they involve pain, okay? So that there are a lot of metaphors. This is where I refer to the three levels of the soul, like vegetative soul, sensitive soul, and rational soul. So at that time, they talk about the souls in these stages. And then the vegetable love refers to one level of the soulful love, you know, or the spiritual love, okay? Yeah, this is a slide where I explain how the use of his, you know, implies a kind of distance, and also the coldness of the lady to increase the distance. But on the other hand, his is one of the conventions in the 19th century. Okay, so let me show you a few examples of the readings. No, yes, this one.
Had we but world enough and time, this coyness, lady, were no crime. We would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. Thou by the Indian Ganges side shouldst rubies find. I by the tide of Humber would complain. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. My vegetable love should grow vaster than empires, and more slow. And 100 years should go to praise thine eyes, and on thy forehead gaze. 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest. An age at least to every part, and the last age should show your heart. For lady, you deserve this state, nor would I love at lower rate. But at my back, I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near. And yonder, all before us lie deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song. Then worms shall try their long-preserved virginity, and your quaint honor turn to dust, and turned into ashes all my lust. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, could do that embrace.
Okay, I'm sorry, the sound quality is not good, but I just want to show you that there are different ways of reading and presenting the poem. You know, you can read it very beautifully, or you can visualize it, okay? Or you can also perform it, one person or two-person performance, okay? Okay, let's take a break, and after the break, we'll move on to Desmina Boat. So Western civilization. And I think by that time, you should be a lot more familiar with maybe the developments in the Renaissance, in the 17th century, Restoration period, Neoclassicism, etc., etc. Okay, here I just want to bring your attention to a few elements which are dominant in Renaissance as well as the 17th century. You know, one is the great tradition of love poetry, you know, and also like courting the lady, this idea, courting the lady, carpe diem. And I think with John Donne, indeed it's very interesting how he combines the amorous elements in the 17th century poetry with the religious elements. You know, that he has love poems as well as holy sonnets. And then I think that with the previous poem to his core mysteries, you get again this idea of mortality or human transience. This really is a common theme in love poetry. You know, we have, shall I compare thee to a summer's day as one which shows a high awareness of mortality, and then to his core mysteries. And Holy Sonnet is another one dealing with death. Not love and death, but just death. And I want to connect it to the film Wood, because I think that it places John Donne's poems in contemporary context, in our context, in modern context. So maybe in that way, we can relate to metaphysical poetry a bit more, okay? And here, I started with a painting done in the 17th century. And you can see how the human skull is placed together with books, with musical instruments, with a watch, and though with a lamp, which also can be a metaphor for time. And with this may be something you cannot see clearly, with rings and with writings. No, I think it's musical scores, 乐谱. So human achievements are placed together with the sense of mortality, okay? And presented in Greek color, you know, to show us that life is bountiful, but then inevitably short, you know, limited by the final moment, the edge of doom that we are always facing. Okay, so let's take a look at the poem. Let me get one reading. This one is another of for you in your consideration of how you present the poem to your student. We don't have the complete version, but I think that what is presented here is not with human actions but with music, you know, and that's something you can consider too.
Some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so.
We don't have. Yeah, this is just a sample, because I think living poetry is something for sale, so it only presents a sample. So let's listen to Julian Glover's reading, and also look at the poem itself.
Not proud, though some have called thee mighty and
能不能再大声一点？
for thou art not so. For those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst
OK，
thou kill
那个
me.
声音太小了哈，没关系，我们这个就 skip， 你们可以自己回家听哈。So yeah, let me explain the meanings, and we'll get to we'll then move on to two kinds of context. One is the 17th century context, and the other is our context. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. Do pay attention to the changes made to iambic meter. You know, when there is iambic meter, and then the changes made to it will be the places where the poet wants to put emphasis on, like mighty and dreadful. These two are wait. Okay. So let's begin again. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. For thou art not so. For those whom thou think'st thou dost overthrow, die not. Oh, sorry, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. So in the first stanza, here the speaker says that those people you think that you kill, overthrow means kill, actually do not die. Nor yet can thou kill me, nor can you kill me yet. So death, be not proud. You know, you cannot kill anyone that you like to kill. Okay, and here death is personified, like because I could not stop for death, the poem. There, death is presented as a gentleman. Here, death is presented first as a creature, poor death. Okay, just a poor creature. But I think that this is like let me not to the marriage of true mind admit impediments, or because I could not stop for that. I think that in these poems which celebrate something eternal, or even celebrate death, or immortality in one way or another, you know, I think that I can always find ambiguities. I'm not sure about you, because I read some of your annotations. Some of you will still think that the other poem, Sonnet 116, is about eternal love. But I think that there are doubts. You know, just like for me, there were doubts because I could not stop for that. You know, maybe the doubts are in myself, you know, not in the poems. But I read my own doubts into the poem. Okay, so I think this is something for you to consider, whether this poem is a pure celebration of immortality, that death cannot overcome us, or whether there are doubts about our own power over death. Okay, like here, die not. Who die not? Okay, in context, it means that those whom thou think does overthrow, die not. Those die not. But in this line, die not, poor death, I think there are ambiguities. You know, it seems that death do not die. Although at the end it says, death, thou shalt die. Okay, but the strength of death is undeniable. You know, the use of the explosive death, die not, death, thou shalt die. You know, the force of die, you know, for me is very impressive. Maybe more impressive than we wake eternally. Okay, so just keep this in mind. You can have your own interpretation. Maybe I'm just being too suspicious or cynical about eternity. Okay, so this is the first stanza. The main argument is that you should not be proud because although you want to kill everybody, you cannot do it. Or at least not yet. nor yet canst thou kill me. It means that you haven't killed me yet, although someday you will. Okay. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. But thy pictures be means they are similar to you. But thy pictures be. Okay, here, the notes are here. And soon as thou best man will with thee go, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. So it means that, oh, sorry, I missed one line. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be much pleasure. It means that we get a lot of pleasure from rest and sleep. And then we can get the same kind of pleasure from thee. So much more must flow than from thee. If we get pleasure from rest and sleep, which are usually called the little death. 你们知道，就是那个法文里面那个sleep is called petit mort， 就是那个小死亡。So every time when we go to sleep, we experience a little death. But we get a lot of pleasure from rest and sleep. And the speaker then argues that then from thee we'll get more pleasure. More pleasure will flow from thee. As soon as our best men go with thee, rest of their bones, they'll feel rested. They'll be relieved. Their soul will be delivered, sent downward to eternity. So this is the second argument, the second reason for the speaker to think that death should not be proud, because death is no different than what we experience every day, and that is rest and sleep. Okay? And the third stanza, thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and thus with poison, war, and sickness drown. So here, these are all the things that are associated with death. And according to the speaker, death gets used by fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. So death is not really all-powerful in controlling everything. It is these factors and roles in life that control death. So for instance, death can only happen when desperate men want to commit suicide. Death cannot determine, according to this point, death cannot determine when we die. Okay, it is ourselves that determine the other person's death. Like kings can determine the other person's death when they'll die, or desperate men can finish their own lives, but not death itself. Okay, so death usually comes with poison, war, and sickness. So in that sense, it can be associated with something really negative, and with those negative things, death is really not powerful. By comparison, death is not as powerful as those evil things or chancy factors. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. So in other words, if death is a kind of sleep, then poppy means marijuana, okay, 罂粟花, or charms, 魔咒, can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. It makes us sleep even better than your stroke. Okay, why swellest thou then? So why do you still swell with pride? Why are you still proud? In other words, you are a slave to these things, and then you are associated with evil things, and then you are not as powerful as poppy or charms. So why are you so proud? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Okay, so the ending of this poem is as strong as the ending of Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds Amid Impediment. I think that ending is also very short and strong with a lot of monosyllables, 就单音节的字. Okay, but then one thing I do want to ask is, which is powerful, eternally or die? Eternally is what we call feminine rhyme. Actually, it is not a rhyme even. If you think that, it rhymes with thee, they are too far away. Thee, me, and eternally. They are too far away. Let me ask you something. Is this an Italian sonnet or a Shakespearean sonnet? the rhyme scheme is A B B A B B A C D D C. It should be E E, but eternally and die are forced rhyme. Don't rhyme. So are they Italian sonnet or Petrarchan sonnet or Shakespearean sonnet? If you look at the rhyme, they are Petrarchan sonnet, right? Only 5 rhymes, right? Okay. But if you look at the form, it's actually, it ends with a couplet. There are 3 variations of the same thing. There's no sharp turn in the 9th line. So there's no octet, sestet division. No, we have 3 parts ending with the couplet, and that's a Shakespearean sonnet. Okay, but what is really very interesting is the lack of rhyme at the end. You know, and I think you need to find out. Some of you may think that, oh, this is just something trivial, but rhyme does have the function of putting these ideas together, like thee and me, so and overthrow. No, they'll be the ideas will be put together, and the fact that there is no sense of harmony at the end, no rhyme, no sense of harmony, you know, creates a gap in this poem for us to further interpret. Yeah. Okay.